What's going on? It's your man's Moo Man on the mic, the Initiative Podcast, back with episode 3. I want to give my shout outs real quick to Wallow, Instagram at Wallow627, or no, 267, PSA from Wallow. The street game is over, but we're going to get into these headlines. Okay, so, episode 3. Thank y'all for once again, if you've seen the intro, episode 1. And why do I keep saying episode 3? I said episode 3 this whole time, didn't I? It's only episode 2. But you know me, I usually just get these out raw. I don't do too many retakes. Y'all gonna take me with my best and y'all gonna take me with my flaws. All right, we got Instagram trending. Headline right here. There was a Instagram page that posts something quite beautiful. And from Something Black Made, right? It was an episode from what's her name again? Iyanla Fix My Life. Iyanla Fix My Life. Iyanla Fix My Life, right? A mother asked her son for forgiveness after years of pain. I'm talking about they broke generational curses, because in this particular episode, we're talking about, if you ever had that strenuous relationship with your mother, if you just so happen to be a son or a daughter of a strenuous relationship with your parents, I'm talking about real bad. I'm talking about she kept you from him. You know what I'm saying? These are specifically the fathers. You see what I'm saying? The mother kept the son or daughter away from the father for decades, to such a degree to where there was psychological damage within a relationship between a mother and a daughter, or between a father and a daughter, or a father and a son. And usually when you have those kind of strange relationships, what gets you caught up, you see what I'm saying, is the lack of communication that you've had with that parent. You know what I'm saying? And we can do vice versa, but I'm specifically speaking to a son and a mother. You see what I'm saying? Who never got a chance to see his father. You see what I'm saying? And I'm specifically talking about a father and a daughter, in which the father never got a chance to build that real raw relationship with their daughters, healthy and positive. You know what I'm saying? And this episode, we're talking about the generational curses that was broken. The ancestors felt within their epigenetics, because our ancestors, we all share the same blood. And it was just amazing to see. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong, I've been through my healing, I've been through my growth as well, and I never got an opportunity to have that kind of conversation with my mother. You see what I'm saying? And who knows if I still can. I haven't talked to her in a very, very long time. So to see this out in the open and to see it in this very raw, very painful, but yet refreshing way, it healed a lot of aspects that I have in my mind in regards to my mother. You know what I'm saying? Just watching it. And it really does strike a vibe in your spirit, because, it'll make you flash back to those experiences, even if you're still going through them right now. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm going to offer up that praise, you know what I'm saying, to, Iyanla Fix My Life. That right there, that episode right there was something to see. Let's see. We're going to get another headline is Ryan Davis, right? Comedian Ryan Davis, he just recently dropped a special. It is quite hilarious. I advise everybody to go watch it. It's all underrated. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty cool. But he had a particular joke within that special. And, it's the best pro-life versus pro-choice joke you will ever hear in that debate. You know what I mean? I'm not going to give the entire joke away. I'm not going to give the joke away at all, period. You got to go watch it. All right? I love my comedians out here. Jess Hilarious, love her. Affion Crockett, love him. You see what I'm saying? And the multitudes of others. Of course, I love the legends. Shout out to all of the legends. You see what I'm saying? But, the up and coming, the ones who've been doing it, you know what I'm saying? A particular school of comedians out here are really wrecking the streets, and it's hilarious, because there are certain kinds of sociological input society takes that they have. And mind you, as we know, the comic game has taken a nosedive in the last 10 years. All right, last 10. To be honest with you, it's more severe since the pandemic. Now, everybody's psychologically sensitive, spiritually sensitive. You see what I'm saying? And that's not to say that there's any spiritual attacks going on in any comedic jokes. No, but comedy. And then, mind you, on Club Shay Shay, you know, he just recently had Damon Wayans on there, and Damon Wayans, he already said out the gate that he ain't stepping back into the comedic realm. And we talking about a legendary Damon Wayans. We talking about from the same school of hard knocks as Jim Carrey, master impressionist. You see what I'm saying? He's a master comedian. You know what I mean? Master class level. And he ain't get back into the game just because of the sensitivity of society. And it's like, man, you know, just to lose a talent like that, the original pick for Richard Pryor, I advise y'all to go check that out. Club Shay Shay episode with Damon Wayans on there, okay? He's doing his rounds. You know, that's definitely, you know, a old school refreshing conversation that they had from the legends. Even Robin Williams, you know, there's something in there that you're gonna find pretty interesting. If you didn't know, now you know, type shit. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna move on. Trending again on Instagram, we got Phase One. He's a rapper going against the entire Illuminati. He's going against the entire industry. If you aren't familiar with the artist Phase One, he is a rapper that's been making Instagram megawatt rounds with his style of rapping, targeting every rapper under the sun who is declared a industry plant, who's declared a societal plant, who's declared an enemy of the black culture and of the original meaning of hip-hop, which we used to be a revolutionary act. Okay, that's how it started. Shout out to NWA. Revolutionary act. Okay, hip-hop was a counterculture against police brutality, against political prejudice, and as we know, you know what I'm saying, against overt and subvert racism. You see what I'm saying? So let's be clear, you know, ever since, you know what I'm saying, certain moves have been made, really ever since COINTELPRO, you know what I'm saying, hip hop itself was targeted, you know what I'm saying, manipulated, subverted, you know, gatekeepers were applied from our own community, you know, industry plants were picked from our own community, you know, and now this is the music of today. And I'm not going to name any artist because I'm an artist in general. I do believe in the essence of art for true and unadulterated expression, unbiased and unjudged. I do, and that's in every industry. So I could be like, yeah, this happened, that happened, yeah, they talking about this, over sexualization, that. Unless you're going against directly the kids, then there's an issue. You see what I'm saying? And those are the ones that I will definitely target. But as far as these other topics involved, well, let's just say the lack of teaching or the lack of training, you know, on a psychological level, are learning our natural nature or learning the true, you know, power of hip hop and how it can transform using words, using beats, send waves within musical projects. You begin to understand the kind of power and consumer force that we already are, the kind of power that we can wield if we create our own broadcasting distribution systems. And that's just music, you know. We know that Tyler Perry, you know, shout out to 50 Cent, getting their own studios, you know, and making these spaces for our cinematic expressions to a whole nother level, you know, and we see what's in the background and we see what's going on. And Phase One's calling everybody out. Anybody that's doing any of those rituals, you're out. Anybody that you know, that truly believes that dark magic, not black magic, just dark magic, which is much, much worse. You see what I'm saying? And that's another thing. The reason why I say dark magic versus black magic is because all magic in general is bad. You see what I'm saying? It's not good. I mean, when one could say that you use magic for good, one can then also say that there's a power equal to or greater than the Most High. But there isn't. So where is this magic coming from? One would then have to ask that question. Hence the collapsing concept that I applied, good and bad, to the ideology of magic, especially within the industry, being used to spellcast and spellcraft, certain ideologies into our minds. Propaganda. Y'all know what it is. You can hear it. You can see it. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to move on. We're going to get on to some world news. That the stock market has lost $11 trillion since the inauguration of Donald J. Trump. The NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, S&P 500, all of them were under 6%. But I've heard so much worse. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've heard so much worse. I've seen so much worse. We all have. We're going to see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Just rest assured that every time there is a wealth gap, as there always has been when it comes to the black people in general, we always fill in that gap with entrepreneurial skill, right? I'm going to get into it more episode 3, because this one's 2. Why I sit up there and kept calling it 3. Okay, moving on. So the psychological topic that I would like to get into just real quick is neurosomatic intelligence, right? Which is the biological reflection of developing mental emotional intelligence. And this is the psychological piece that I kind of want to leave this episode of the podcast with, just from what I've seen from my feed, from my timelines. I just want to let everybody know to develop your mental emotional intelligence is in contrast with developing your neurosomatic intelligence. You see what I'm saying? That's the ability to recognize and understand the connection between the mind, emotion, and body, right? And when you want to get even further, for my science heads out there, that is the synchronization of the hypothalamus, the pituitary, and the amygdala axis. Okay, it's called the HPA axis in our brains. And all I want to say is that there are techniques to go ahead and advance that, to grow that. And I'm gonna get more into it. Make no mistake. You know what I'm saying? And I encourage everybody to dig deep into their psychology, grab those books, even ask AI. That's how desperate I am. We got to develop our neurosomatic intelligence within each other, for each other, so that we can advance our social skills to the next level. You know what I mean? And mind you, keep this in mind. It's competition, you versus you. On a societal level, it is now competition, us versus AI in a minute here. And us versus people who use AI against us. You know what I'm saying? So all of that are things to think about. It's your man's Moo Man on the mic, and I'ma see y'all next time.
I don't mean no disrespect, but no way.